Take that all that you love, take it from the enemy. Full of power, you're a conqueror, you're a warrior. Put your high heels on and make a mark.
Thank you, ladies, for tuning in to Uncommon Women. I'm your host, Shanera. So today we actually have a guest speaker by the name of Jazmine Koonhow, formerly known as Jasmine Holden. She's 32 years old, born in New London, Connecticut, raised in Reading, PA. Reading High School graduate, class of 2004, attended Lock Haven University as well as Arbor College. She's a wonderful mother of 3 boys by the ages of 10 years old, 21 months, and 8 weeks. She's a wife of a state trooper, a military man serving 22 years in the Air Force, and they've been married for 2 years. She's definitely blessed and highly favored, and today she's going to speak on her life.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Uncommon Women, first of all, for having me as a guest today. This is a wonderful opportunity, and I just, thank you for providing the platform for me to be able to, speak on my life and things that I've been through. I mean, what I'm going through and what I may go through in, the upcoming future. So I just really appreciate it. I relocated to the state of Delaware 2 years ago. Once I married my husband, I was a home equity specialist at Wells Fargo Bank, and I was with Wells Fargo for about 8 years. So it was a big step for me to kind of, give up my career, give up schooling, and also to become a mom of 2 new babies, you know what I mean? And I pretty much put my life a little bit on the back burner for my husband, which I feel technically in my life is a blessing. I feel like I dropped some things, but I also picked up this great man in the process. So moving to Delaware, I'm currently a stay-at-home mom, raising my 21-month-old, and then also my new baby, which is 8 weeks, Mr. Carter. Very, very cute. I'm just really, really blessed, and I'm really, really grateful for where God has taken my life. Things that I've come out of, nothing that I'm ashamed of. I'm really going to be transparent today. So, like I said, I'm glad that you guys are having me, and my life is an open book.
That's awesome. So how is it being a wife as a Army wife, as you used to say?
So being an Army wife, that's actually something new for me. Like I said, we've been together 3 years, married for 2. My husband's been in the military for 22 years, and it definitely was a change for me. Little bit of background, both my parents were in the Navy. I think my mom was in for about 12 to 13 years or so. So I kind of knew the life a little bit, just from what I seen in pictures, but I never actually really lived it. It is kind of hard in a sense of, my husband goes 1 to 2 weekends a month, and he's gone for the week. Then there's some times where he does small deployments. It could be 2 weeks, 10 days, 7 days at a time. But then we're at a stage where we're at now, and this is our first deployment together. So he's been going since July 5th, and he actually wasn't here for the birth of our youngest son, Carter. Grateful that he was on Skype, so he did get to see everything, but he wasn't physically there, and that was very, very hard for both me and him. And he's going to be gone until about January 15th. So I'm definitely looking forward to him coming back.
That's great. That's great. So how did you guys meet, and how did you know, he was the one?
Okay. So it's crazy that you asked me how we met, because what a lot of people don't know is that I actually met my husband online.
Wow.
And a lot of people kind of downplay meeting online or kind of throw shade to it. But to be honest with you, I was never open to online dating. And I'm just going to give you a quick, brief story. Long story short, I checked out a nail salon in Philly, which was a high-end nail salon. And I only went there because it was an all-black salon. It's actually Coco Nail Salon. Yeah. Went to Coco's Nail Salon, and the owner, Onisha, was doing my nails. The person that worked for her, that was sitting next to her, was telling her client that she had met her husband online and that they've been married for 2 years. So I'm taking all that information in while she's doing her client's nails. And I'm like, maybe I should try this. You know what I mean? So I went home, waited about 2 weeks, got online, made a profile or what have you, looked around, didn't see nothing I liked, got off. Didn't get on for about another 2 weeks. So then I get like what they call a super like on one of my photos, which happened to be my husband. And long story short, he sent me an inbox message. And that message, I cannot forget it to this day. He said exact words, "How's your Saturday going? Your pictures are very beautiful. I would definitely like to, have more conversation with you. If you're open to it, here's my number." And I felt like right there, genuine. Like, guys don't give out their number. They always, they always want your number. They never, you know what I mean? It's never like, here's my number. Call me when you have time. So right after that, I waited a couple hours because I didn't want to seem desperate. And I actually sent him a text message, and the way he spoke to me, it wasn't hood. It wasn't ghetto. It wasn't none of that. It was, how's your day going? It was sincere. It was grown man. That's what it was. And I'd never really had that before. So we kind of talked from then on. We actually talked for a couple weeks. And then he invited me out to dinner. Went to dinner. It was amazing. Just talked. He wasn't pushy or, he really wanted to get to know me. And another funny thing that I just want to throw out there, with my husband being a state trooper, I thought it was so weird that he didn't believe that I was the age that I was. So we would Skype because he lived in Delaware and I lived in PA. Well, he actually asked me to put my ID on Skype to verify and make sure that I was over 18 because he didn't believe that I was the age that I was. So from then on, the rest was history. We dated, and then from then on, he just kind of put out there what he was looking for. He wanted a wife. He wanted a family. He wanted kids. And, he said, if that was something that you'd be open to, let's take it from here and see where we go.
So how did you know that he was the one?
I knew he was the one. First of all, when we dated, he always opened the car door for me. He always pulled out my chair for me. I cannot tell you that this man, I don't even know if he even knows how to argue. We do not argue. We don't go to bed mad at each other. Just the way that he talks to me, sincere, always asks me how I was doing, and every single morning he texts me, "Good morning, beautiful." Always call me beautiful every single day from the very second text that we had. Always call me beautiful. And I just felt like it was something that I never had before, but it was what I prayed for. So I really, really thought that God had given up on me. And for him to send a man into my life, a real man, an established man that had his own career, that had his own car, that had his own home. You know what I mean? I've never had anything like that in my life. And I knew from that moment that this is for me. God really saved you for me. And I knew from then on that he was going to be my husband.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how was your childhood like?
So, if I can go back in my childhood, even going back to as far as I can remember, being about 5 years old, we lived in an abandoned house in the city of Reading. I remember we were put out. My mom was dating my stepdad at the time, and he had overdosed, and he was pretty much the winner of the family. So when he had overdosed, my mom was, receiving government assistance, was welfare, food stamps, stuff like that. And nobody wouldn't take us in at the time. So we had moved into the shelter, which was down on 2nd Street. I believe now it's called the Opportunity House. And sad to say that we were one of the longest families that lived there. We were there for about 2 years. Wow. 2 years. And it's just something that I never forget. And I'm never ashamed of, my childhood or, where I came from. Because I remember in the mornings, we had to be out of the shelter at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, school doesn't open till about 8. So we sat on park benches until, school opened. I remember there was a bar. We went to Lawrence Park Elementary, and there was a bar right across the street, which was called Drusilla's. And my mom was real close with her, and she would let us come in, and we would sleep in the back of the bar until school opened in the morning. We ate breakfast, at school, which was breakfast and lunch was sometimes the only meals that we had during the day because we didn't have nothing to eat, for dinner some nights. And so once we got put out of the shelter, because like I said, we were one of the longest families to stay there, my mom just could not get on her feet. She just couldn't get it together because she struggled with addiction, crack cocaine, alcohol, and we moved into an abandoned house, right? 250 North Front Street. Never forget it. And my mom had kicked in the back door, and I remember it was dark, real dirty inside, real dusty. There was no lights, no nothing. And I remember vividly, she pulled a cardboard box and put it in the corner, and we all sat there, and she hugged us. And she said, I'm going to make this into a home for us. And we didn't understand at the time, but all I knew was that we was together, So, my childhood, growing up, it was real hard because I really had to step up, because with my mom's addiction, I had a younger sister who was 1.5 years younger than me. And I pretty much was like her mom because my mom was always ripping and running, leaving us home alone. It was never nothing to eat, And I have an older brother who's 4 years older than me. And he kind of turned to the streets because my mom was in the streets. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it goes, So, it was really, really hard growing up. I've been bullied. I've been made fun of. I felt ashamed of my mom. My parents separated when I was about, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years old. Same story a lot of people go through, But I really feel like it's how you overcome that. And which leads me to kind of a little bit older in my life where I then went to foster care when I was about 9. My foster mom, unlike some people, I was really, really blessed. She would come pick me up from my mom's before I got with her and take me to church and buy me clothes. She would pick me up Fridays and take me to her house and wash my clothes and send me home with clean clothes and stuff like that. Till one day she went to bring me home and there was an eviction notice on the door and she didn't want me to see it. So she kept driving. And that's pretty much how I ended up with her. And so, I've been with her from the age of about 9 until I went to college when I was 18. Wow. So after I got with her, I still had a lot of hurdles. There was a lot of things that I went through that I wasn't proud of. Even though I had a good home with her, there was an incident that took place when I was about 16. And I'm not proud of it or anything like that, but there was a girl that constantly picked on my sister, picked on her a lot. And my sister for some reason was like scared of this girl. And I couldn't understand why, because she was like the fighter of the family. You know what I mean? And I said, you know what, we gonna go find this girl and get to the end of it. Like she gonna stop picking on you. I'm gonna let her know, like, leave my sister alone. Long story short, we met up with the girl and things just went left. And I actually cut this girl in the face. She really got cut bad, and I didn't realize how bad it was until there was a warrant for my arrest at 16 years old. And I remember my brother had called down to the police station, and he had asked them, are you looking for somebody by the name of Jazmine? And they said, yeah. And they were looking for me to turn myself in. And I did. And that turning myself in turned into 2 years of being locked away. And it's not something that I'm proud of, but it's something that I learned from. But I was always taught, y'all stick together. You know what I mean? Like, somebody mess with your sister, you supposed to, you know what I mean? Not take it that far, but, you're supposed to look out for each other. Yeah, you're supposed to protect each other. And I just really use that as like a stepping stone to how fast something can go left in your life and things can go wrong. You know what I mean? By decisions that you make in a second, So, like I said, it's all things that happen in my life, and I'm not proud of them, but I feel like they made me, who I am today. So it is what it is.
Wow, that's very powerful, and it's touching, and I definitely agree in regards to the things that we go through definitely make us who we are.
Right.
So what emotions do you have towards your parents with everything that happened when you were younger?
So as far as a father figure goes, I always knew who my dad was. Sometimes we even spent summers in Philly with him because he's a Philly native. But growing up, and a lot of people, not even my friends, know this. Like, my dad was one of them who, you know how the saying goes, like, racism is taught. Now that I'm older, I think back to my childhood, and I know that that's true because I remember growing up, my dad used to always say, these crackers this, these crackers that. You can't trust a white man. Like, he used to always say things like that. And it really can make you want to hate another race by which your own family and your own blood teaches you, And so that was kind of hard for me growing up. But it's the same story. Like, my dad, broken promises. I'm going to get you this for your birthday. I'm going to make sure you had this for school, and was just never around, was never there. Never when we needed them, things like that. And it was crazy because I remember me and my sister growing up, we used to joke around and like fake talk Spanish a lot of times. And we used to do that like in front of my dad. And he used to sometimes say that like I wasn't his daughter because I used to talk Spanish. And I never understood why until I heard a little bit of the backstory that my mom used to have a boyfriend before him that was Spanish. And so I don't know if he thought she was creeping or what it was. But I mean, I grew up like in the projects. Like Oak Brook is a Latino minority, project. And so you learn a lot of different things. So that was like what we knew. So we thought it was cute and funny, to talk like that. But when it came to my mom, I used to really have a lot of resentment against her just because of, like the drugs and her not being there when we needed her. Like I said before, us not being able to eat, not having clothes, not looking like what everybody else looked like in school. The trend. Like, I felt like I was bullied a lot because of her, like not being able to provide for us. And I'm not saying that I needed to have everything that everybody had, but I didn't even have the little things that I was supposed to have. Clean underwears, training bras, clean socks. I went to school with grass stains in my jeans, and I really, really got made fun of a lot, and it really, really hurt and stuck with me, growing up. So, I mean, now I kind of let it go because I realize that when you have a parent that suffers from addiction, it's a disease, and it's not really something that she can control. Like, do I want her to change, her ways and stuff like that? Yeah, but it's been so long that I just really accept her for who she is now at this point. So I don't hate them. I love them. But I feel like I've done what I was supposed to do on my end as a daughter. Like, just still supporting her. Every time she go to rehab, I support her. She fall down 7 times, get back up 8. I still support her. Because I just feel like it's just always going to be that one day that she's just going to turn her life around. And I hope that my kids get to see that before she passes away. So
that'd be good. So after you got out of was it juvenile that you were in?
Yep,
detention?
Juvenile detention center.
How was your life as a teen as far as being 18, being around the world, guys, just teenage life in general?
Even though I had a good life with my foster mom, I still lacked love and attention. I had a good life, but my foster mom still never really told me she loved me. Like I knew who my mom was and I knew where to find her, but she wasn't out there telling me she loved me. So I did the same thing everybody else does. All the other girls do. Look for love in all the wrong places. And guys, I remember being embarrassed one time because my foster mom like went to the pastor at the church and told him like she's boy crazy. She got a boyfriend every other week, you know, stuff like that. And it was true, you know. All it took was somebody to tell me, oh, she's cute, she's fly, she's bad, she's this, she's that, and that boosts your self-esteem, you know what I mean, so high when you're young. You know, you got young boys telling you stuff like that, like she all that, and then it was me. You know, I always had nice hair, so they always used to, you know, the baby hairs laid, you know what I mean? So I was always catching something from that. So, I mean, I just really turned to guys looking for love, and it was never good. It was like I was always trying to mother somebody and trying to change somebody into what I wanted them to be, building them up, you know, like paying for this, and yeah, you can come stay with me and you don't gotta pay no rent, you know, putting cars in my name and paying people car insurance. And like, I mean, the stories I could tell you, like when I think back now, it's like, I would never want to have a daughter and a daughter do some of the things that I did because I didn't have no guidance. I didn't have nobody to tell me, you know, this is wrong or he's wrong for you. Or I was even in situations where I knew it was wrong. But just the fact that like I didn't want to be alone. I didn't know how to be alone. I didn't love myself. I didn't know how to love myself. You could always look pretty on the outside, but I didn't even know who Jazmine was on the inside. I didn't know what I liked, what I wanted, how a man was supposed to treat me, how a man was supposed to talk to me, what a man was supposed to do for me. I was always the one that was doing for somebody. And to be honest with you, it took me till I was 29 years old to get disgusted with myself, to be sick of myself. I put my last boyfriend out my house who told me he wanted to save $10,000 before he helped me pay rent. Child. Yes. I put him out my house, and I looked in the mirror one day and I just looked at myself and I just was so disgusted just with myself. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done with this life. I'm done trying to save somebody. I'm done being a doormat. And I really just said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to date nobody. And I didn't. I'm going to take time to find out who I am. Who's Jazmine?
That's good.
What does she want? You know, how does she want a man to treat her? You know, like, and I did. I ain't date nobody for a year and a half. And in that year and a half, after that time was up, I dated myself. I traveled. I went places. I treated myself. And I didn't, and I actually stopped entertaining anything on social media, anything like that from guys. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just take this time for me. And that's what I did. And after that year and a half went by, God blessed me with my husband.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how was your relationship with your foster parents?
So
Was she a single mother, or was she married?
So my foster mom was married and her husband was deceased. When she got me, it was just her. She had two older boys that were like in their 40s. And so when she got me, I was a girl. So she was like, I was the daughter she never had. So, I mean, me and her, we bumped heads at times. But I think I was one of the best things that happened to her, and vice versa, and the same in return. So I didn't grow up with even with her with a male figure in the house. It was just pretty much me and her. But she really molded me into a woman as far as cleanliness, how to wash your body, washing clothes, and we hung our underwears on a banister. She taught me we don't dry our bras in the dryer. We hang them on the line. You know what I mean? We did things like that. Just dusting the house, and I had chores, and we ate dinner together every Sunday after church. And that was her one thing. We went to church every Sunday. It could have been one service or two. But, we went to church on Sundays, and my relationship was amazing with her. I mean, I thank God for her every day, because without her, I really don't even know where I would be, to be honest with you. But she's been deceased now it's going on 7 years. She passed away from a brain aneurysm.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
She passed away in her sleep. And but I actually got to spend my last days with her before she passed away suddenly. We spent the whole weekend together. Wow. And I got to spend some time with her, and but then she passed away suddenly, and I really, really miss her. I really wish she could just, see my life now and who I am now. So
that's good. That's good. So you mentioned you have an older brother and a younger sister. How is your relationship with your biological brother and sister?
So growing up, I had a sister, and we were a year and a half apart, and we were very, very, very close. And I also have a brother who is 4 years older than me, and we were thick as thieves growing up. Mm-hmm. My sister passed away. It's going to be 4 years in about 2 weeks. Wow. She was actually murdered, and wrong place, wrong time. She met a dude that she was dating for about 30 days. Was going out with him on a date. He decided that he wanted to stop by his place. They stopped by his place, knock on the door. He opens the door. Somebody comes in to rob him, shoots him. My sister's there. She sees who it is, and they shoot her. Yep, and she died instantly. And it was very, very hard, and it still is, till this day. She left behind a son who's now 7, AJ, my little chocolate drop, I call him. I've been helping take care of him since he was 3 when she passed away. So I get him every holiday. He spends summers with me. I make sure he's good for school. And then I have my brother. We're not really as close as we once were. And partly has to do a lot with my sister passing away and things like that, and just some decisions that he decided to make with his life that I wasn't happy with, And but at the end of the day, he's grown, I'm grown. His life went that way, my life went this way. I would hope that one day we could will it in, bring it back in to kind of where we were, because life is short, My sister passed away at 26 years old. She never got to travel. She never been to a concert, things like that. And it's just crazy because you would think that after losing a sibling, we would come together and be able to, be close. But it's just, unfortunately, it's an unfortunate situation that, he can't let go of some of the things that he has harboring inside, within himself. And I pray for him every day, and I miss him. I miss our relationship, but it is what it is at this point, so.
That's good. If you had to tell your brother anything today, what would it be?
I would tell him first and foremost that I love him and I appreciate, the things that he did for me when we were growing up, because he was kind of like that father figure, in the house. And I would want him to forgive me for, and that's big, forgive me for things that I may have said or that I may have done. And I tried to explain to him different things like, maybe guys that I used to interact with because I didn't have no guidance. And I tried to explain that to him. It's like when you don't know, you can't do better.
You don't
know. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you can't do better when you don't know. And so, but I would just kind of want him to also know that you can't let anybody come in between family. Your family's always going to be there. They're always going to rock with you, no matter whether you're high, you're low, you're in, you're out. Your family is going to be the ones that you can call when it gets heavy, So you never want to kind of like let your family fall to the wayside. And I just would want him to kind of realize like what we had back in the day, like who we were, how we grew up together. I would want him to kind of take all that into consideration and how I was there for him when nobody was, And so I wish we could go back to that. I really do miss him, so it is what it is.
That's good. Well, I'm hoping he'll have time to listen to this podcast. Yeah. I definitely hope he can tune in.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So did your brother and sister have a foster parent as well, or was it just you?
So my sister she actually stayed in the house with me with my foster mom. But the problem with her is that my sister was really, really close and in tune with my biological mom.
Okay.
So she would run away all the time and go find her and stay there 2-3 days, and we'd have to go find her. And so my foster mom kind of got to a point where she couldn't take it no more, because technically at that point by law, we were supposed to be with her. So we couldn't just have her ripping and running because if something happened to her, my foster mom was going to be held liable. You know what I mean? But as far as my brother goes, growing up, he had a friend. His friend's name was Jamari, and his mom's name was Miss Geneva, and they took him in. And so he stayed with them while I was in foster care, and then he pretty much left from there, had got his own place and kind of fend for himself growing up. And that's kind of where his life went left, and he turned to the streets and, you know, things like that. Because once again, even with him, he didn't have no guidance. So that was what he knew and how he provided for himself at the time. So, no, he didn't have a foster parent, unfortunately.
Wow. So looking back at your life, looking at it now as a wife, how has your life changed looking back?
First and foremost, the main thing that I can think of would be being angry. And I say that in a sense because I remember I used to really not even know how to like talk to people. You know, like I was snappy. Like as soon as you said something about me, like what? Who? Like who you talking to? You know what I mean? And now my husband, he has this famous line he says all the time, we're Koonhows. We don't act that way.
Okay.
So, because I go to him with situations all the time, like something like maybe a family member may have done to me, or, you know, like a girlfriend may have done to me or something, because we talk about everything. He is my best friend.
Communication is
Communication is everything. So when I talk to him about something, he is crazy because he's so nonchalant and not for the BS at all. Where I'm the one that wants to get hype and rowdy. Yeah, like and I want to cuss somebody out. And he's like, for what though? Like, how's that benefiting you?
Right.
How is that benefiting us? You know what I mean? Like sometimes you gotta be the higher person. You gotta learn how to walk away from certain situations, and then you have to know that certain situations ain't even worth your time. And being with him actually taught me that. Some people ain't even worth it. It's not even worth getting into them. Like, what's it going to do for you? You know what I mean? So I kind of take those things. And like I said, even with communicating with him, letting go of a lot of things, being angry, wanting to be malicious against people, you know.
Petty. Ain't that what they say now?
Petty. Yes. Petty queen. Like, you know, letting things like that go. So I kind of just learned how to be more mature. Because first of all, when you're a wife of a state trooper, you got to watch a lot of things. And it's a lot of things you got to let go. It's a lot of things you can't say, you know. And then not only that, just really turning your life over to God and being a Christian. You know, with me being a Christian, I can't go around cussing folks out. You carry yourself and conduct yourself a certain way. But not even only that, like I'm trying to conduct myself as a woman. You know what I mean? Because I'm a woman, I'm a mother, and then I'm a wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't want to post myself half naked with no clothes on. Shout out to y'all who do that. That's your own, you know, that's your own forte and what you want to do. But I just have to carry myself in a certain light. And, you know, I kind of represent my husband nowadays, not only just, you know, myself, and I'm representing my kids. You know, my son plays on a travel team, and I have a lot of moms from soccer that follow me. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be on these, you know, media outlets talking crazy. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, that's who I once was. But I just kind of grew up. And
that's good.
I just want different things for my life now. And I want my kids to see me in a different light, you know? And I also have a lot of people who actually inbox me and ask me a lot of questions. How'd you get here? How'd you overcome this? You never know who's watching you.
That's so true.
You never know who's watching or who you're even inspiring. I have a lot of people that write me and, you know, tell me, you know, your story inspires me, and you're never ashamed of where you came from, and you're never ashamed to tell your story. So, you know, I just kind of think about, you know, people who are watching me and how my kids will look at me, you know, once they get older. So
yeah, that's definitely important, especially when we are raising the next generation.
Absolutely.
It's definitely important how we carry ourselves. Is there anything you would have done differently growing up as a child?
Yes, there's so many.
As a woman, as a lady, as a teen, you know?
I mean, if we can be realistic here.
Let's be realistic.
If we can be realistic here, I would have saved myself for my husband. You know what I mean? I would have definitely dated less people, it was a lot of time wasted on wasted relationships. I would have not befriended so easily. Certain people, there are certain people that I thought, was my friends, but was secretly jealous of my lifestyle. And that's just being 100 with you. You know what I mean? My aunt always told me, this is my Aunt Jamie, and we're so close. She used to tell me, in life, you may have a handful, and that's 5 fingers, of friends. And you don't need to have 1,000 friends.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? But you may be able to count on one hand how many people are your actual friends that are going to be happy for you, that aren't going to be jealous of you. Because I had a couple friends who I thought was happy for me, but in the end, it's like you take a step in a positive direction, and it's like because maybe they didn't get there at the same time you did, now you think you better than them. Or, you got a husband now, but you did this when you was younger. Okay, I did do that when I was younger, but that was when I was younger. This is who I am today.
Now.
I'm not the same person I was yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So I would have not befriended so easily. I would have been a little bit smarter with that. And I would have also forgiven my mom for a lot of the things that she kind of took us through. I kind of held a lot of resentment for a very long time. And it took me to become a woman to know that I can't change who she is, and I gotta love and accept her for who she is. And so those are kind of some of the things that I would have changed, growing up. But I'm still grateful for everything that I've been through,
That's good. That's good. That's real good. So what motivates you in life right now?
Number one, I'm going to say first and foremost, Christ, my relationship with God. My relationship with God, like I always just want to, walk with him and kind of mimic him and live by him, and Christ is at the forefront of not only my household but my marriage. Without him, I wake up every day because he breathes life into me. You know what I mean? He breathes life into me, my children, my husband, my kids. They motivate me. My son is 10. Like, I made it 10 years with a child that I'm molding into a man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, really, really molding, like, straight A student. Playing soccer on 2 teams. I mean, I travel to his games. I support anything and everything that he wants to do and wants to be. And then my 2 little ones, I just got to be, focused for them. And I realized also just being a mother that you can't lose yourself in your children, because it's so hard to lose yourself in your children. And what I learned is that if my cup is empty, how can they drink from my cup? So you got to take care of you in order to be able to take care of them.
That's true.
And then lastly, my husband. I want to be the best wife I can for him. I want to be his best friend. I want to be his companion. I want to be, listen, she gonna put her hair curly for you today. You want it straight today. You know what I mean? Like, we're just everything for each other. And he motivates me. I motivate him. And we're making it because of that.
That's good. That's good. So when you say you can't lose yourself in your children, is there anything that you actually do for yourself?
Absolutely. Like I said, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom, I started my own hair care line, my own natural hair care line, which is amazing, essential hair care. I pretty much had a hair regimen growing up. I've always had a nice grade of hair, but I was always into hair, doing hair, playing in hair, everything like that. And I got to a point where I dyed my hair once, and I knew I had no business doing that. And it all broke off, dyeing it blonde, trying to be cute. And I pretty much had a mixture that I did consistently. And I was able to grow my hair back with this mixture in 12 months. And then people would always ask me, like, how did you get your hair to grow so fast? How did you get your hair to grow so fast? And I'm sitting out here giving out my tips. And I'm like, hold on a minute. I take a step back, like, wait, this is mine. Like, this is
own it.
Yes, like, I need to own this. And pretty much that's what I did. My husband was like, listen, if you want to take this serious, I'll back you in this 100%. I'll fund this for you. But you got to be serious. Don't waste my time and do not waste my money. And I was just like, okay. So I started from the bottom. I mean, and he really worked with me on this. We went and got this trademarked, and he helped me, you know, order bottles and even filling up product and everything like that. And I pretty much had a launch date, and it was so big. Like the city of Reading, whoop, whoop, Reading, PA, I love y'all. Showed me so much love. Like my hometown showed me so much love. I mean, like I literally sold out of all my bottles the same day. Like it was crazy. And my husband, at first, it wasn't that he didn't believe in me, but I think he needed to see, like he saw the vision, but he didn't see it the way I saw it. Mm-hmm. But when he seen the numbers,
he's like, oh, we for real.
He was like, this is going to take off for real. Uh-huh. So from that point on, I launched my website. I launched my hair page, and it pretty much blew up from there. And I mean, I knew that it was serious when I had somebody reach out to me from Dubai that heard about my product line in Dubai. And I shipped product to Dubai. I felt like I made it.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, I'm still rolling. I have my Facebook hair page, K Milan Hair. I'm on Instagram, Jazmine32. You can look me up. My website information is on there, and it's my baby. It's my baby. It grew from something so small, a mustard seed.
That's all it takes.
It was all it took, and it's mine. It's mine, and I'm so happy that people support me, people believe in me, and you know, my reviews are awesome on my product. So
that's awesome. And listeners will have all her information in the bio, so make sure y'all support her. If you want your bundles, real bundles, make sure you support Jazz.
Absolutely.
And her hair products.
Absolutely.
So let's see. Now, do you still have a relationship with your foster mother?
No, only because she passed away. It's going to be 7 years that she passed away. Wow. And so I really do miss her. But I know she walks with me. I know she's proud of me. I know she's looking down on me. And I'm really, really grateful that I got to spend the time that I got to spend with her so that she could mold me into, you know, the woman that I am today. So.
And what about your biological mom?
And my biological mom, yeah. I mean, and I know she wouldn't feel no type of way. I mean, it is what it is. She's currently in a rehab. She's trying to get herself together. Mm-hmm. I took the kids to go visit her about 2 weeks ago. She got a chance to meet Carter for the first time. One thing about me with my mom is that no matter how many times she falls, I'm still there. You know, it's been a struggle. I mean, she's been in and out my life and on and off drugs since I was about 5. And, you know, each time she goes to the rehab, I just feel in my heart like, you know, this could be it. This could be that one time that she's going to change. And so I just kind of feel like, you know, I don't want to walk away from that, you know, because it could be that one time that she's decided that she's going to turn her life around, and I want to be there for her. You know, I don't want to enable her in any way, but at the same time too, she's my birth mom, and you know, I'm always going to be there for her no matter what. So
that's good. That's good. Well, I'm rooting for her.
Yes, please do, and keep her in prayer. I'll
keep her in prayer, and hopefully this is the time.
Yes, absolutely.
This is the time, not only for you, but for her grandkids as well. Mm-hmm. Definitely. So what's something that you would want everyone to know that, you know, maybe live the lifestyle of being a foster child, or even just living a lifestyle of parents being drug dealers to mothers being addicts? What was something that you would let someone know?
The main thing that I would say is that it's so important today, in today's world, to break the cycle. That you can be yourself, and that you don't have to be a product of your environment. You don't have to, you grew up where they sold drugs and did drugs, and you seen this and you seen that, but that doesn't have to be your life. Your life is what you make it. You have to want more for yourself in order to become somebody, to be somebody. You know what I mean? Like, just because you grew up in that doesn't have to define who you are as a person. And as long as you love yourself, that is the first thing. Self-love. Self-love is so huge, because that's what I feel like a lot of young girls today lack. Like, I don't care what you say. You could look in the mirror and feel like you Beyonce. But at the end of the day, if your heart is cold and you don't know who you are, when you open your mouth, negativity comes out, or you find yourself in these negative relationships and places you're not supposed to be. You feel stuck and you feel trapped and you feel like you can't get out and you feel like you can't make it, but you can. And it starts within you. It starts with loving yourself and knowing yourself. So, I mean, at this point, all you got to do is just kind of like know what you want out of life. Once you know what you want out of life, you can make it. And I always say this, there is somebody out there for everybody.
Yes.
And it is going to be the right person if you take your time to invest in yourself. Because a man that is fully put together wants a woman that is put together. Like, nobody wants to take care of nobody. You know what I'm saying? Right. Now, granted, when you get together, the point of a relationship and the goal of marriage is to build together. Mm-hmm. But listen, you got to be able to come to the table with something. Because you can't sit at my table if you can't come, you know what I mean? You got to be able, yes, you can't come with just looks. You have to be able to bring something to the table. And, you should want to, as a woman, bring something to the table. So that's pretty much what I would tell anybody who is, trying to change their life or trying to get out of something that they feel stuck in. They always say the grass isn't always green on the other side, but let me tell you something. I jumped to that other side, and that grass was good and green. So, so that's pretty much what I would say.
Now, you said you had anger issues. Mm-hmm. How did you overcome those trials and tribulations where you would just go 1 to 100 on somebody versus...
I'm not ashamed to say that I'm currently in therapy. Mm-hmm. I've been in therapy since I was about 10 years old. I mean, there was a couple times in my life where I kind of strayed away from it. But I'm back in there. I have my therapist, and I'm definitely not ashamed to say that. There's just things sometimes I feel like it's easy to talk to my spouse about, but there's just some things that I still have like open wounds about, growing up, and he may not understand because he didn't witness that or he didn't go through that. And sometimes you need to be able to vent that to someone who doesn't know you, to feel comfortable to be able to talk about those things. So definitely, if you feel that there's things that you want to get off your chest, and instead of you harboring those feelings inside, I definitely would encourage any woman, I don't care what color you are, what race you are, to definitely seek therapy, because it's something that has helped me to become a better woman, a better wife, and also a better mother.
I agree. I think, being Black, we told, you don't just tell your business to somebody, but I think therapy definitely changes people's lives.
Right. Absolutely.
For the better.
Absolutely.
Especially when you've been through stuff as a child.
Absolutely.
Because that molds you to who you are, So you have to actually get them burdens out of your heart in order to be filled properly. Yes. So I definitely agree on therapy. So what makes you uncommon?
What makes me uncommon? And I'm taking that as what makes me different. Mm-hmm. I think the fact that I've overcome so many trials and tribulations as many other women have, but I'm so transparent because I feel like you never know who's watching. You know what I mean? And I feel like you should never be ashamed of where you came from. At one point in life, I was so ashamed of like my mom and my upbringing and who I was. I was so ashamed that I kind of like made myself into somebody that I wasn't to kind of mask all that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so just me being different, me being open, me not being scared to say I made it or feel like I made it, because I feel like I made it. I really do. I feel like I've been through so much in my life that there's nothing that could happen to me today that could knock me off my rocker. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just being grown up, being more mature, just loving myself. I just feel like that just makes me, it separates me from the next person, And I feel like that's what makes me so uncommon.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So you said your husband's coming back in January. He's currently deployed. How is it being home with 3 kids, your husband away for 6 months total? Like, how does that feel? How does that feel?
First and foremost, it's very, very hard. But there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like my faith in God, because I'm going to tell you, I know there's single moms out there that do it all the time, but it's nothing like having a spouse that's not there. And you give birth while your spouse is not there. So we're dealing with the fact that he has a whole child that he's never got to touch, hold, anything like that. And then it can get hard because then you kind of feel a little bit of resentment. Like, my husband is deployed and I really feel like he's living his best life. I really do. If we're just going to be honest, like the weekends come and that's kind of their downtime. So, he could sit out under this pavilion with his troop and they sit out there
changing diapers.
2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm pumping because I'm a strict pumper. And I'm pumping every 2 hours. I have a newborn who's up. I have a toddler who wants my attention. I have a 10-year-old who wants to FaceTime me and always, may need something. So it's very, very trying. And I could tell you, this is my first deployment and I never could have imagined that it would be this hard, this tough. But communication is everything. When I have my days that I just literally feel like I can't do it anymore, my church family has reached out and supported me in ways that I couldn't even imagine. I also have my state trooper family who, Mandy and Jeff, whoop, whoop, just want to shout them out. They've supported me and my children. I mean, from Mandy, who is like one of my best friends now, like was in the delivery room with me and I told her she needed to be a doula because she coached me through like my whole birth process, and them just watching Kaylin while I was in the hospital because we have no family in the state of Delaware. And, just seeing my husband's face, just watching his son being born and, just being supported, trying to support me the best he can from overseas and vice versa. Me supporting him and keeping him up to date on what's going on at the house and what new progress the kids are making and what's going on with me and what I need from him while he's gone. And, it can be very hard on a marriage. But the one thing my husband says to me all the time is God gave us this because he knew we could handle it. And when I get to my breaking point, that's what he tells me all the time. And he even said last night in a conversation that we had, and he said, sometimes you need to go through something like this to appreciate what you have at home. And I think us being married for 2 years and having a 6-month separation so early in the marriage, it really, really changed some things for the both of us. Like just missing your best friend. And I told him I missed the times just cuddling on the couch or me getting to sleep in and him taking care of the kids because he's very hands-on with our children. And, I can't say it's something I want to go through again, but I honestly can appreciate this little bit of separation that we have so that it can bring us closer together and make us appreciate more things in our marriage and broaden our communication and we get to laugh. And last night we was laughing and cracking jokes on each other and, just still trying to keep it fresh and keep it funky, while we're, apart from each other. So at this point, January 15th cannot come any faster because I miss my best friend. I miss him. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
So you got to take lots of pictures when
Yes.
you reunited.
Yes, videos and everything of him meeting Carter. We're going to do the whole shebang, the welcome home banner.
That's awesome.
And everything. So, I mean, you know, I sacrifice to the military. I sacrifice to the state police. I put everybody first. And that's why I said, you know, just going back to, you got to not lose yourself in all that. Because I really feel through this deployment at a point that I was last. You know, like I had to take care of my kids without him there. I had to be available and support him when he calls. And I found myself like getting lost in this deployment and feeling like a single mom. And so, you know, certain kind of ways that I get through that is I may call on my girlfriend from the church. Can you watch the kids for 2 hours? Because I just need to be away from my babies. Mm-hmm. You know, like can I go get my nails done? Can I go get my toes done?
Just a little pampering.
Just a little pampering to recharge and rejuvenate my life. And other than that, it's been going okay. I mean, we made it 3 months. We got 3 to go, but I really feel like the hard part is over.
You're halfway there.
I'm halfway there. I am making it.
Think about the Christmas and then boom.
And then boom, it's over. It is over, over.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I thank you so much for coming out with Uncommon Women today and actually telling your story. Ladies, make sure you look in the bio, look at her hair products. I will have her Instagram page. You can follow her in that. Any questions that you have for her or Uncommon Women, please email us at uncommonwomenpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. And ladies, please remember to stay uncommon.